5 minutes. That is all it took. In 5 minutes, on the morning of June 4th, 1942, 3 of the most powerful warships in the world were turned into burning wreckage. 5 minutes that shattered Japan's grip on the Pacific. 5 minutes that changed the course of World War II. And almost no one saw it coming, least of all Japan. June 1942. 6 months after Pearl Harbor, Japan controls the Pacific. From the coast of China to the shores of Burma, from the jungles of the Philippines to the islands of the South Pacific, the Empire of Japan has seized more territory in less time than any military force in modern history. Its navy is the most powerful in the world. Its pilots are among the most skilled and battle-hardened on Earth. And its commander, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, is convinced that one final decisive blow will knock the United States out of the war entirely. That blow is aimed at a tiny coral atoll in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, an atoll called Midway. What is about to happen will last 4 days. It will involve hundreds of aircraft, dozens of ships, and thousands of men on both sides. And in the space of approximately 5 minutes on the morning of June 4th, 1942, the balance of power in the Pacific will shift permanently in a way that no one on either side fully anticipated. This is the Battle of Midway, and it begins with a secret. To understand Midway, you have to understand what Japan was trying to accomplish. After Pearl Harbor, Yamamoto knew something his government did not want to admit. Japan could not win a long war against the United States. America's industrial capacity was simply too vast. The only path to victory was to destroy the American Pacific Fleet quickly and completely, forcing Washington to negotiate a peace before the full weight of American industry could be brought to bear. Pearl Harbor had been a stunning tactical success, but a strategic failure. The American aircraft carriers, the most valuable ships in the Pacific, had not been in port that day. They survived. And as long as they survived, the United States remained dangerous. Yamamoto's plan for Midway is built around a trap. He will send a force to attack the atoll, forcing the American carriers to come out and fight. When they do, his vastly superior fleet will be waiting to annihilate them. It is a bold plan, elegant even, and it has one catastrophic flaw. The Americans are reading his mail. Since early 1942, a small team of U.S. Navy codebreakers working out of a basement in Pearl Harbor, led by Commander Joseph Rochefort, have been cracking the Japanese naval code known as JN-25. By late May 1942, Rochefort's team has pieced together enough of Yamamoto's plan to know that a major operation is coming, that the target is a location the Japanese call AF, and that the attack is scheduled for early June. To confirm that AF means Midway, Rochefort uses a brilliant trick. He has the Midway garrison broadcast a fake radio message in plain text, reporting that their freshwater distillation equipment has broken down. Within days, Japanese intercepts are reporting that AF is experiencing a freshwater shortage. The trap is confirmed. AF is Midway. Admiral Chester Nimitz, commanding U.S. Pacific Forces, now faces a decision of enormous consequence. He knows Yamamoto is coming. He knows roughly when. He knows the general composition of the Japanese force. But the Japanese fleet vastly outnumbers his own. He has 3 carriers: Yorktown, Enterprise, and Hornet. Yamamoto is bringing 4 fleet carriers, dozens of support ships, and hundreds of aircraft. On paper, This is not a fair fight. But Nimitz has surprise. And in naval warfare, surprise is everything. He sends all 3 carriers to a position northeast of Midway, a spot his planners call Point Luck, where they can ambush the Japanese force before it even knows American carriers are in the area. The Yorktown, badly damaged at the Battle of the Coral Sea just weeks earlier, is repaired in an extraordinary 72-hour effort at Pearl Harbor Dockyard. A job that Yamamoto's intelligence estimated would take 3 months. On the Japanese side, confidence borders on arrogance. The operation is so complex, involving multiple fleets, diversionary attacks in the Aleutian Islands, precise timing across thousands of miles of ocean, that it assumes American passivity. It assumes the U.S. carriers are still in the South Pacific. It assumes the element of surprise belongs to Japan. Every one of those assumptions is wrong. June 4th, 1942. Before dawn, the Japanese carriers launched their first wave, 108 aircraft, toward Midway. The island is hit hard. Fuel tanks, buildings, aircraft on the ground are destroyed. But the runways survive. And crucially, the American carriers have not been found. Admiral Nagumo, commanding the Japanese carrier force, now faces the decision that will define the battle. His second wave of aircraft is armed with torpedoes configured to attack ships. But no American ships have been spotted. Midway, his pilots report, needs another strike. He orders the torpedoes removed and replaced with bombs for a second land attack. It takes time to rearm aircraft. Time the Japanese do not have. While Nagumo's mechanics are pulling torpedoes off planes and replacing them with bombs, American search aircraft find the Japanese fleet. Nimitz's carriers turn into the wind and begin launching. The first American attacks are a disaster. Torpedo bomber squadrons flying in without fighter escort are cut to pieces by Japanese Zeros. Of the 41 Devastator torpedo bombers that attack, 35 are shot down. They score no hits. The Japanese combat air patrol is high, fast, and lethal. But those torpedo bombers, dying in the waves below, have done something crucial without knowing it. They have pulled the Japanese fighter cover down to low altitude. The skies above the Japanese carriers are open. At 10:22 in the morning, 3 squadrons of American Douglas SBD Dauntless dive bombers arrive over the Japanese fleet. They have been searching for nearly an hour, running low on fuel, close to turning back. Then, almost by accident, they spot the wake of a Japanese destroyer heading toward the carrier fleet and follow it in. What happens next lasts approximately 5 minutes. The dive bombers push over into their attack runs. The Japanese carriers below, their decks crowded with fully fueled and armed aircraft being rearmed in the chaos of Nagumo's decision, are catastrophically vulnerable. Bombs strike the Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu in rapid succession. Fuel lines rupture. Armed bombs and torpedoes stacked on the hangar decks cook off in chain reaction explosions. Within minutes, 3 of Japan's finest fleet carriers, ships that had launched the attack on Pearl Harbor just 6 months earlier, are burning, sinking wrecks. A 4th carrier, the Hiryu, survives the initial attack and immediately launches a counterstrike. Her aircraft find the Yorktown and hit her twice, forcing the crew to abandon ship. But American dive bombers find the Hiryu hours later and send her to join the other 3. By the end of June 4th, Japan has lost 4 irreplaceable fleet carriers. The United States has lost 1. The battle continues for 3 more days: cruisers, destroyers, submarine attacks, and a final Japanese attempt to shell Midway under cover of darkness that Yamamoto ultimately calls off. But the outcome is already decided. On June 7th, the last Japanese ships withdraw. The Battle of Midway is over. The numbers tell part of the story. Japan loses 4 fleet carriers, 1 heavy cruiser, 248 aircraft, and over 3,000 men, including many of its most experienced and irreplaceable naval aviators. The United States loses 1 carrier, 1 destroyer, 150 aircraft, and 307 men. But the numbers don't capture what Midway actually meant. In 6 months of war, Japan had built a Pacific empire through a combination of surprise, superior air power, and the paralyzing shock of Pearl Harbor. Midway ended all of that in a single morning. The 4 carriers lost at Midway took years to replace. And by the time Japan rebuilt its carrier fleet, American shipyards had produced dozens. The experienced pilots lost could never be replaced at all. Japan's ability to project offensive naval power across the Pacific died on June 4th, 1942, and it never recovered. For the United States, Midway was the moment the war in the Pacific turned from survival to counterattack. Within 2 months, American forces would land on Guadalcanal, beginning the Long Island hopping campaign that would end 3 years later in Tokyo Bay. Midway was won by codebreakers working in a basement, by an admiral willing to bet everything on intelligence he couldn't fully verify, by torpedo bomber pilots who flew into certain death and drew the fighter cover away, and by dive bomber pilots who found their target at the last possible moment and didn't miss. 5 minutes. 4 carriers. The Pacific War turned on a knife's edge and fell the right way. That was the Battle of Midway, the turning point that broke Japan's offensive power in the Pacific and set the course for the rest of World War II. If stories like this are what brought you here, make sure you're subscribed to War Origins. There's a lot more where this came from. We'll see you in the next one.